Hey, good afternoon traders, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to look at the indices, starting with the SPY, QQQ, IWM, and then we're going to get into the MAG7. And I want to show you what I'm seeing in the charts and where I think we're going from here, despite our recent correction. So you're going to want to stick around all the way to the end because I'm going to share really interesting price targets that I think are going to blow your mind. So let's start with the SPY. Clearly, you can see we're in this this very large channel dating all the way back to 2021 with this pivot low. You can see we came up, kissed it in towards the end of 2021, had the sell-off, and you can see we're clearly framed inside this parallel, right? This parallel channel. And you can see as of late, most recent price action is an overthrow essentially of the parallel. So you can see we came up, kind of created this all-time high, and then we had this consolidation zone, right? Once we broke through this consolidation zone, we went up, confirmed actually above the channel, but it was a weak confirmation. So I want to zoom in and show you what I mean by that. So here's the previous all-time high, and what's interesting about this is we had this really interesting down move, right? And then you had this inside bar. Then this inside bar consolidation looked as though it was a bear flag forming, and then boom, we break out. We create this breakout candle, consolidation, and then we're off to the races. Failed moves like this bear flag, failed moves often result in explosive moves to the upside, and that's clearly what you can see here. So what did we do here? We broke out. We had this breakout candle, gap up, and then we had another gap up outside of the parallel, and that confirmed that move. And then you had this confirming move that broke us out of the parallel. Then you had this down move, bear flag, and then we broke back in. So what do we have here, right? I'm going to just simplify this, and we're going to, as we go through the indices, we're going to look at it from the most simplistic terms. We're going to look at it from the breakout of the previous all-time high, right? And the confirmation or confirmation down below, if that exists. So in looking at the SPY, you could clearly see we make the breakout. Then we even had, like I said, that confirming candle above the parallel, but then we fell back in. Now, we didn't confirm that move back into the parallel until this candle. So now we are confirmed inside the parallel. The second thing we want to look at is, are we confirmed above the previous all-time high breakout? And the answer is no. Now, let me explain why. And I'll go through the next ones much faster, but I want to make sure that you understand what a confirmation is if you don't already. So we had this move down on Thursday. Okay, we had here's the low right here at 67 or 670.97, and then you had the close right about here. Well, in order to confirm the move down below this previous all-time high, we would have needed to close, a daily close, below that 670.97. We did not. Instead, we got a hammer candle, which actually was a really interesting candle because it did two things. One, it did not confirm the move below the previous all-time high, okay? So we are still confirmed above that. And two, it back tested the 50-day, right? This is the 20-day, this is the 50-day, and we back tested it, and we created this hammer candle. So this is bullish price action on large volume. So that's kind of where the SPY is. The SPY is confirmed back in the parallel, but it is not confirmed below the previous all-time high. So what this looks like it's going to do is we're going to continue higher. Now we're going to have to see if we can, again, break out of this parallel. That remains to be seen. But for now, we are still in an upward move. We have a higher high right here, and potentially we are going to march much higher. So now let's look at the Qs, because this one's interesting. Whereas the SPY, we already overthrew the parallel. Now in the Qs, we have not. So you can see we're inside this parallel, similar parallel, dating all the way back to 2021. And you can see we have not broken out of this parallel. So I expect the Qs actually to still retest the top of this parallel. So let's look at it under the same lens, and we're going to go much faster. So we have the confirmed move above the previous all-time high, right? This consolidation zone, confirmed move. We did not confirm below it. So we are pretty much in the same spot. We are not confirmed below the previous all-time high, which means we should resume our upward trajectory and start moving up higher. So I expect that to happen on Monday. Now let's look at the IWM. Now the IWM is a little bit different. This did not make such a resounding confirming move above the previous all-time high. It did confirm above it, but they were with red candles, and I never like to see that. So this one, while it is, this one is different, right? This one has now not only, this one has confirmed back below the previous all-time high, and I'm going to walk you through why. So we had the first candle here. I think this was back on Tuesday. So we had this Tuesday move that put us right there, right? Close at, or the low of that candle, 241. Now, the next day we moved back up, still closed below the line. And then this day on Thursday, we came down and we closed below that low. So this is a confirmed move below the previous all-time high. And I was watching the put and call volume very closely, and there was a lot of puts being purchased in big money from likely, pretty large institutions on the downside. So we did print a bullish hammer candle, which does look very, very encouraging, but we are still confirmed below this previous all-time high. So we're going to want to see this move. I do expect it to move higher. We're just going to have to see if it hits its head here and wants to retest this demand zone here. So, this one's a little bit more iffy on the indice, but, versus the SPY and QQQ. But I do see upward resumption of trend still continuing. I'm just not sure if it's going to hit its head right here or continue to move higher. So we'll have to watch that very, very closely. All right, so let's now move into the Mag 7. So let's start with Apple. Clearly, Apple has been in a very, very bullish structure, creating new highs and has some interesting price action. So previous all-time high here, we have not only moved above it, but obviously we confirmed above it with this candle right here. So we moved above it quite nicely, continued our move up. Now we did have this massive sell candle, and this to me does look like it's printing bearish consolidation. This does look like a bear flag, so it's quickly just simply drawn. Looks like this. What I expect from Apple is actually a breakdown of this bear flag, and I see this retesting the 20-day and possibly the all-time high here. So I do see this breaking down, but then from there, I expect movement back higher, right? I think we're going to do something like this, and then we're going to go higher. So that's Apple for you. Let's jump into Amazon. Amazon, very interesting as well. Clearly, we had broken above this all-time high, and we confirmed above it with a gap up and a close here. But look at it, sell volume candle, and look how big the sell volume candles here are here. So, this one's super, super interesting. This could be nothing more than just a back test because it was so explosive to the upside, and it needs to consolidate and back test. But look at the candle it printed on Friday. Again, a bullish hammer candle. So we are confirmed above it. They saved it. So I do expect this to continue to go higher. Could it build though? Could it build a, kind of something like this, do something like this, and then do a retest kind of down here to kind of maybe even, I don't know if it's going to fill this gap. That would be pretty low. But could it kind of get down to this level here? It certainly could. And then could it make its move higher after that? I do believe it could, so keep that on your radar. There are some, this was a massive, massive gap up, and you can see clearly it created exit liquidity for people that were in those positions. So I kind of see it doing something like this. Does not have to do something like this. It could fade. It could continue, instead of doing a bear flag like that, it could just continue to move up from here, depending on how the market kind of acts. So those are the two scenarios I see. In any event, either way you look at it, this is bullish. All this move, it does look very, very interesting to continue its upward trend. Let's look at Google. Now, Google, I feel like, is the strongest of the bunch, and I'm going to explain why. So you have this massive move up. You have this bullish consolidation, right? Essentially a bull flag. I'm going to draw that on for you. Take that there. Let's do this. So you have this, you have this flagpole, you have this flag here, and then you have a breakout, you have a back test, and then you have a massive move up. Well, what are we doing right here? Kind of the same thing, right? We're kind of creating this channel. It's very, very similar to what we did before. And that, my friends, is that's bullish. So it hasn't back tested this, so it most certainly can. So keep that 100% on your radar. But this right here looks very, very similar to this. Bullish consolidation, could consolidate a few more days, and then we potentially get another move higher. Now, it can also break down, and it could fail, and it can, it could come up like this, do something like this, and then break down, back test, and then we go higher. So keep that on your radar. That's most certainly a possibility. It could even fall back through here, kind of retest, but I expect that to kind of catch up. So we'll see how this plays out, but of the bunch, I feel like Google by far and away is the most bullish chart setup. Okay, let's move on to NVIDIA. Now, what has NVIDIA done? Massive move up, bullish consolidation in this whole little zone right here, right? You have this whole little kind of area right here. You had a kind of a bear trap right here, up, bear trap again, and you've had this consolidation. You even had a bull trap a little bit if you're day trading, right? You came up, you thought it was going to be a breakout, faded it, came back in the consolidation zone, and then what's that? Same thing we talked about, I believe it was on Apple, right? You have this failed bull flat or bear flag right here, right? Down move, bearish consolidation, failed, massive move higher. So similar to this, right? You had this move higher, created this flagpole, and then you had what appeared to be some bullish consolidation if you were looking at it on those days, but those wicks should have given it away that it was going to fail and come back down, right? You had that little consolidation, but those two upper wicks right here told me that this was likely going to move higher or move lower off that move. And then boom, had the rejection, moved all the way back into the previous all-time highs, this little shelf right here. But what did it do? It did not even close below it, hit the 50-day, created this nice bullish candle, this hammer candle, and massive buy volume. So what do I expect? I expect NVIDIA to continue to, maybe do something like this. Well, probably not even, because I think on Monday we're going to get a nice move higher into this. We could continue to just go create a V. We'll have to see how the semis react, but this is a very, very encouraging move on Friday. I do like this price action. It was supported by this high volume node over here, but look what we have here. Not a whole lot of price action, not a whole lot of volume. So this could easily make a V back up. Could it put it in a double top here? Could it put it in a head and shoulders? 100%. So both of these things are possible, right? It could do something like this, straight V recovery. Let me draw this on. V recovery, back up, create a lower high here, come back in, and could we go lower? Absolutely. Could it do something like this and create like this kind of head and shoulders, right? So we have something like, oops, let me take this off, redraw that. So you have, actually, I'll just do it with the head and shoulders tool. So you could it do something like this? And again, I'm just speculating because you kind of see it in the chart. Could it do something like this? That's entirely possible as well, right? So you'd have kind of the same kind of thing, double top, depending on how it goes. But this would be a nicely formed head and shoulders where we could see a breakdown from there. Or, could continue to just march higher. So these are just the things you need to look at as a technical analyst. Those are the ways to look at it. You got to look at it from a bullish perspective, from a bearish perspective, and obviously price action develops day by day. So as of Friday, this looks extremely encouraging, like the other ones do, for upward resumption of trend to move higher, and then we'll have to just see what it does from here. But I do like NVIDIA in the short term to the upside. Okay, let's look at Meta. So Meta, I still have some old drawings on here, right? Similar to how we were just talking about NVIDIA, Meta actually did that. So it created this head and shoulders, and then it broke down, created this bear flag, came back in, tried to test the neckline of the head and shoulders, and then boom, rejection. Right down. Now, this actually went more than target, right? So if you're drawing a target on your head and shoulders, you simply take the high to the low or to the neckline. You take it from your breakout point, and not only did this hit target, but it continued to fade lower. So I really, in the short term, I like Meta a lot. In fact, I picked up a position, started a position. I should have went a little bit larger because I really liked the price action again on Friday, but I picked it up right down here as we're getting into this close to this gap fill right over here, right? This daily gap fill. Now, there's a lot of gaps on this chart, but I really like this, given that it went further than target of that head and shoulders. So I started a position right here. Could this move higher, create another bear flag, and then come down, fill some of these gaps? 100%. So I'll be playing it probably for a move to about, let's see, here's this high here. I likely will probably be taking a move to the probably to this kind of area right here. So I'll be playing in a short-term swing because, you know, while this looks encouraging, it could just be a simple technical bounce. So this one I like to the upside, like the others, but we'll have to just see how long this will resume its or make the bounce, obviously, because it may want to fill some of these gaps down below. But nonetheless, I like Meta in the short term to the upside. Let's look at Netflix. So Netflix has been obviously in a downward trajectory. We had this massive move from all-time highs, created this bear flag, right? And then we broke down. Now, are we creating another bear flag here, or are we creating kind of a V or a U, not a V, but more like a U-shaped recovery? We'll have to see. I don't, you know, this is massive sell volume. I do like this increasing volume here. The split was announced. It made the price move up, but didn't really do that much. So this could definitely be doing maybe another little bear flag for another and final move down, right? We might do something like this. We'll have to see. You know, we did not retest this previous all-time high here. We got close. We kissed it. So I could see another move down here. Potentially as low as this high volume node down here. So I want to show you, you know, this is an extreme target. I don't know if it's going to get back down here, but if we get another sell on the markets, this is entirely possible. So, and I like this massive high volume node. This would be an amazing area to get into Netflix if you're not already in. So, you know, that this one, like I said, we'll have to see if it breaks above this and gaps up and goes. Then, you know, the bear flag's kind of off the table, and we're likely going to target the 50-day moving average, right? We're decisively below it. So we'll have to see. There's the 20-day here. It's going to come in. There was some resistance at, you know, right now this down move is all inside bar, right? So we'll see how this plays out, but that's how I'd be watching Netflix. Okay, let's move on to Microsoft. So Microsoft, very interesting. We're obviously had broken out of this longer term parallel like the SPY and QQQ, but it was rejected. We had this move down, bear flag, and now we're breaking down from that bear flag. So you could look at this, you could measure the bear flag just to give you a simple price target on where this can go. So if you take that, and you put that right here, you know, that takes us below previous all-time high. So while this number's possible, you know, 455 off this break of this bear flag, I don't know that it's quite going to get there, right? I do think it's going to come and retest this this previous all-time high at about 468, 465 range, which I am going to cover my short. You know, I'm looking for a little bit more downside on this, short the name. I have some puts. I will definitely, as it gets into this zone towards this previous all-time high, I will be covering, but clearly you can see there's some pressure on this stock, and I do expect this to come further. Now, could it, like everything else, could it, in the short term, you know, put in a technical bounce, come kind of retest this area here, you know, form this little more of another bear flag, and then make its move? You know, I probably expect that to happen. I don't think it's going to come straight down, but I do think we're probably going to get something like this. So that's how I see Microsoft unfolding. And lastly, let's take a look at Tesla, my friends. Tesla is a very interesting stock, and it's been acting so incredibly bullish. And Friday's candle was a little discouraging. Did it get saved? Did it retest this 50-day? Yes, but it didn't act as though it's going to make a decisive move up, because we have been in this massive kind of bull flag consolidation. And what's really interesting, if you look at it on the 20-day, even though we broke through it, we never ever confirmed below this 20-day, right? We always moved back into it and never got a confirming candle. And then we've been sitting, consolidating above it. It really looked like it was going to break higher, but wasn't in the cards. The market sell was too strong, and Tesla wanted to test this 50-day. Now, with that being said, it did put in a hammer candle. It just wasn't as encouraging as I would have liked to see. I would have liked to see a green candle close, you know, up here. You know, it did break down through here. So, you know, we aren't confirmed under the 20-day, but this was, you know, not so encouraging. So we'll have to see what it does on Monday. If we get a nice move higher and we, you know, close above the, or close to the 20-day, I'll be back in the mindset of this is just nothing more than range bound trading inside this bullish consolidation. But if we, you know, if we're closing in this area here, I'm going to suspect that Tesla is going to want to fill this gap here at 395 area, which is entirely possible. But from there, I have some massive targets on price on Tesla. Like if we could come in, make this kind of, you know, ABC correction, close this gap, and then get a nice bullish, you know, hammer candle, and then get right back in this area. Here's where I see Tesla going. So I see Tesla first attacking 518, then I see it attacking 584 for the 100% move, and then I see this potentially, I know it sounds crazy, but we could see some of these much higher price levels. And I did a full-blown technical analysis just on Tesla. I'll link it at the end of this video. So make sure you take a look at that. And I break down why and how I think it's going to get to these higher levels. So we'll see. I mean, it wanted to retest this 50-day. It held it really nicely. We just need to see resumption of trend and a nice move back up into these highs. If it starts trading by Monday and Tuesday, early next week, and it's back to 460 and it's closing up there, you know, I think we're going to these levels. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Just again, you gotta look at it from both perspectives. You can't be biased any one way. You just have to interpret the charts as they play out day by day. And there you go. So that's what I have for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed this technical analysis on a Saturday. I'm going to be bringing you guys my 3 bangers tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that video. If you did like this video, make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And I'll remind everyone, no financial advice given, only technical education and insights as to what I'm doing with my own personal trading portfolio. And again, thank you guys so much. I know I haven't been on a lot lately, but that is going to change, I promise you. I've just been consumed with work and a bunch of things. So, and the move, of course. So now I'm in my new office and things are awesome in my studio, and I can't, I really enjoy it. So again, thanks for your time, guys. Hit that like button. I will see you guys on the next one. Cheers and God bless.